know, a good place to go if you want to stay up on everything Galucia. But like I said, there are people that wanted to know about my mod list, and if you are planning on getting into these mods, like, it's worth noting where they actually appear in the load order. For those of you that have like never modded Skyrim or anything before and you don't know, the load order is the order in which the mods appear. So whatever's at the top loads first, whatever's at the bottom loads last. That matters. Some things have to load before other things, otherwise they don't work right. And some of this is specifically geared towards Godif, because he specifically asked about mods that have to do with like immersion and stuff and don't have anything to do with like a more like cheaty side to things, which honestly not really any of my mods do. So to go down the list, we've got the unofficial Skyrim special edition patch, and then the same for the survival patch. Both of those are a necessity. They fix a lot of bugs that Bethesda has never fixed. Maids 2 is a huge mod that adds tons and tons and tons of quests. You can see there in the description really quick, approximately 13,000 lines of dialogue, 79 different voice actors for 116 different characters. It's a huge mod, and I definitely recommend it. But for some reason, it automatically like puts itself at the top of the load order. Like, I don't know why. Cutting room floor adds a bunch of NPCs and villages and stuff like that that are actually originally in the game but were removed, but like the coding was still there, so somebody just like unlocked it basically and like re-added it to the game. Enhanced blood textures is self-explanatory. Static mesh improvements is literally just like improves like some of the like the hitboxes for things and stuff. Wet and cold, literally it makes you look wet. Like when you come out of the water, like you drip wet. Better loot is a little bit cheaty. If you're not like, I would not recommend that if you don't want, because it tends to give you a better chance for like not shit loot basically. It's not OP, like you don't get crazy loot, but you do have a better chance of getting jewels and stuff like that. This mod puts actual quest markers for where you can find all of the stones of Berenzia. For anyone that's trying to do that quest, it's a huge pain in the ass, because who knows where all of them are, and there's a lot of them. So like once you start that quest, it actually gives you quest markers to find the rest. This just adds really badass looking vampire armor, Volkahar Knight. It's good armor regardless of whether or not you're going to be a vampire, but if you are going to be a vampire, like it looks very cool, so it's very themed. Bandolier is the mod that I have that adds all those pouches that I wear that adds to my weight, so I highly recommend that, because obviously a lot of you were interested in that. Increasing carry weight is always a big deal. The Deadly Bosses of Skyrim is the one that I had to temporarily disable for this character, and it's the one that adds huge, really terrifying world bosses. 15 new world bosses in total. Very difficult to kill. Very good for like end game, to give you something to do in the end game. The Noldor Content Pack adds a ton of new armor. Mostly just variants of existing armor that just make it look cooler. Same with the Black Mage armor. Just cool looking mage armor. The Dragon Carved armor set is again mostly just a cool looking armor set. I have a lot of those. This one is really important though. The Better Skills and Quest books is a mod that makes your books in the game glow, so that if you've never picked it up, it'll glow. So if it's not glowing, then you know you've picked it up already. And if it's a mod that gives you skill, it glows with a different color. If it's a mod that gives you a quest, it glows with a different color. So it just makes it a lot easier, so you don't have to remember what books you picked up and, you know, keep doing all that. Better, the quality world map. It mostly adds roads to the map, the world map, so that you can see like where roads are and stuff better. Just makes it a little bit easier to get around. Unlimited rings and amulets makes it so that you can wear as many rings and amulets as you want. I choose not to wear multiple amulets because I'm not like Mr. T with 1,000 necklaces, but it always annoyed me that you can only wear one ring, because I have 10 fingers, so I should be able to wear more than one ring. So I like using that one so that I can wear more than one ring. The lanterns of Skyrim let you craft lanterns, and you can actually equip them, like wear them on your belt or something like that. So I like wearing, I like that one too. It's just a way to light your area if you don't want to use like the candlelight spell. Face mask of Skyrim, very straightforward. It literally just adds face masks that you can craft with linen wraps and dye. This is the one I mentioned before, the Get Soul Gem mining and crafting. You can randomly get soul gems from mining the same way that you can precious stones, and you can actually make soul gems. So you can combine like common soul gems to make a greater gem, or like if you don't need a higher end gem, like you can like make like 2 greater gems from 1 grand gem. So it also makes it so that you don't oh, no, that's a different mine. Never mind. We'll get to that one later. Moving on. The Immersive Wenches adds the women in a lot of, like, the taverns and stuff like that you can talk to, you can have conversations with, and eventually, like, if you butter them up enough, they'll join you as a companion on your adventures. It also adds the women that will randomly patrol around, and they're traveling merchants, so you can run into them from time to time and sell them goods while you're out and about. Very useful for survival mode since carry weight is such an issue. The Winstead Mine is the huge mod that I talked about earlier that adds the entire, almost a whole town that you can create from nothing and have this huge mine to mine whatever resources you need and make tons of gold from it. It gives you a house. There's a tavern. There's tons of NPCs. You have guards. Like, it literally, like, you build a town, and it is a lot of fun, so I do recommend it. The Crimson Nirnroot markers is so that you can find all the Crimson Nirnroot for that quest. There's 30 of them that you have to find. It can be really a pain to find, like, that last couple. So that's why I got that one. Crafting lockpicks, very self-explanatory. These are the assets for Maids 2. If you're going to install Maids 2, there's actually 3 different mods that have to be downloaded to go along with it, so make sure you get all 3. Transmute Mineral Ore Tweak makes it so that the spell for transmuting ore, like iron ore into silver and silver into gold, works a little bit better, and it's not as expensive. The alternate start is a must. That's the ones that you don't have to start with the normal story quest where you're on the carriage and all that stuff. You get to pick what kind of start you want. There's dozens of different options as far as like what you can pick to start as. So I highly, highly recommend that. That is an absolute must. The Forgotten City is the one that I talked about before that won a bunch of awards. Huge, huge mod pack. But when you go there, you can't leave until you're done. At all. You can't fast travel out of it. You can't do anything. You're actually time traveling for this quest. It's really, really well done. It's really, really worth doing. Like, I absolutely highly recommend that you look into this, but it's very time consuming. So do not do this until you're ready to invest like 10, 20 hours. They say 6 to 8 in the description, but honestly, like, you can easily spend 10 hours if you don't actually know what you're doing. The Violens is a kill move mod. It makes it so that you can customize your kill moves, like how often they happen, and like different, like it adds more kill moves to it, stuff like that. 50% more perk points is absolutely necessary for a reason I'll describe later. But basically every other time that you level, like every even level, 2, 4, 6, 8, you get 2 perk points instead of 1. So you're getting 50% more perk points than you normally would. You absolutely need this because of reasons to follow. The Apocalypse, Magic of Skyrim, it adds 155 spells. Make sure you get the compatibility patch with Ordinator, which I'm going to show you here in a second. But you need Ordinator and you need Apocalypse. Apocalypse adds a bunch of spells. Ordinator is gonna redo your skills. It makes a lot more skills, which is why you need to have the 50% more perk points, because you just don't have enough perk points for all the added skills that are in the game now. The Acquisitive Soul Gems is absolutely necessary. It makes it so that you don't waste a gem. Like, if you've ever had, like, you've killed something like really basic that it should just be like a common soul, but you don't have a common soul gem, so it puts it into a greater soul gem, and now you just wasted that soul gem. This makes it so that it will only put souls in appropriate soul gems, so that's totally necessary. There's the Ordinator. Like I said, it completely redoes the perk system of Skyrim with over 400 new perks. Again, that's why you need to get the 50% more perks. Oh, unread books glow. That's what I was talking about earlier. The other book mod that I was talking about actually retextures all the covers of the books so that every book looks unique. It's a huge mod. It takes up a ton of space. I would only get it if you really care about how the game looks, but it does look nice. If you ever want to have a library in one of like your custom houses, it makes it look a lot nicer. Cloaks and capes is actually nice, especially for survival mode, because it adds warmth. The cape will make you warmer, and it's an additional item that you can enchant. You can put in any enchantment on a cape, so it's just one more thing that you can wear with an enchantment. So that's nice to have. The Forgotten Weapons of Arcania is literally just a huge amount of like medieval style weapons, like that Morning Star that you guys were like, oh, pick up the Morning Star. That one is added from that, along with a lot of other weapons. You can see some of them listed there. Some of them have like unique abilities and stuff like that, but it's just nice to be able to find more weapons when you're, you know, going around. Beauties of Skyrim literally just like very slightly retextures the faces of women to make them appear more natural. Like it's not necessarily making them like prettier. It just makes their faces look, you know, a little bit like more smoothed out and stuff. Like it just improves the textures to a more HD texture, so it just makes their faces more realistic. Better horses makes your horses not dumb. The AI for horses is horrible in this game, and it really just makes them a lot nicer. The hybrids HD plant and herbs makes it retexture plants so that they look a lot nicer. That's basically it. Pretty much any plant that you can like harvest, it makes them look a lot nicer, which in general just makes nature look nicer. Marvelous Maribel, I haven't actually tried yet. It adds a woman to the game that you can make your companion, so I honestly can't even tell you if it's any good or not. The load screen replacer, though, TESG, write that one down. Definitely recommend that one. It adds hundreds of different really nice looking in-game screenshots to your load screen, so your load screens are a little bit more interesting. Immersive patrols adds patrols for pretty much every faction that'll just randomly, you know, like patrol down the roads and stuff like that. I do recommend that. It just makes Skyrim seem more alive. There's more people using the roads. Skyland is that one can be questionable sometimes. It's a retexture mod. It makes a lot of things look a lot nicer. I've run into one or two problems with it, but for the most part, I do recommend it. It makes a lot of the nature textures look a lot nicer. This is an absolute must. Ars Metallica, ARS. You have to get this. It makes blacksmithing way better in a lot more ways than I can even get into right now. It makes it a lot better, so make sure that you get that. The Amazing Followers tweaks is a must. If you use followers, it makes you have way more control over how they behave. You can set like what kind of attacks they prefer to use. You can set what armor they wear, what weapons they use, like very specific. So it just gives you a lot more control over them. Lampposts of Skyrim literally just adds lampposts to the roads, but I find it to be nice and immersive. Practice dummies is a lot of fun. A lot of places have these random practice dummies. Practice dummies will let you practice any kind of melee, archery, or magic against the practice dummy, and you can level it all the way to level 30. So like if your one-handed weapons are only level 15, you can smack a practice dummy all the way to level 30, but only to 30. That way you can't max it out at 100. That would be OP. So it's kind of nice. It actually makes the practice dummies what they are. They're practice dummies. You can actually skill up off of them. So if you want to like switch to a, you know, like one-handed and you haven't been using it this whole time, like I've been an archer this whole time, but I would like to start using one-handed, you're not completely inept like right out of the gate. You can practice first to build your skill up. Crypt of the Old Guard is another one that I haven't tried yet. It's a retextured, redone area that made like the old Dawn Guard base like turned into like a vampire lair now. It's supposed to be pretty difficult in terms of like cleaning it out, and then once you do, like, you can keep it as yours. Especially if you're a vampire, there's a lot of helpful things in there. Moonlight Tales retextures a lot of the werewolves and stuff like that, makes them look a lot more varied and interesting. Haven't tried Sophia yet, but it's highly recommended by a lot of people. Another companion that you can potentially get. She's fully voiced, and it's supposed to be a lot of fun, but can't speak to it yet. Haven't actually like picked her up. The Royal Armory makes it so that everyone that's important in the game, like General Tullius and like, you know, like all the leaders of like the various what have yous, have like special weapons, special armor. Because it's always, I've agreed with the person that made the mod. It's dumb that someone like General Tullius, the leader of the army, just has like a steel sword, like a basic steel sword. He should have something like an epic weapon. So like that's what it does. It replaces their weapons to give them more epic stuff. Cooking equals experience is what's actually like, now that, especially for survival mode, since you're cooking so much, it makes it so that when you cook, you actually gain alchemy skill from it. So that's really helpful. The wizard hats, Sir Who's wizard hats literally adds wizard hats. It just makes wizards look more like wizards. The wearable lanterns is what I talked about. You can craft lanterns and equip them onto you. Which one is this? A Carviri ruins. Oh yeah, no, I haven't tried this one either. It adds a new area for you to check out. It's like a Falkreath thing. Haven't tried this one either, so I'm not totally sure if it's any good, but we'll get to it at some point. The Apophysis Dragon Priest mask is literally, it's a mask, but it's a really cool looking mask. Thunderchild redoes all of your, well, not all of them, but it dramatically redoes shouts and how shouts work, and I do recommend it. It's just like the other ones that change your perk system and stuff like that. It just makes it a lot more interesting. No snow under the roof makes areas that snow collect look more realistic. So it's a little bit better for immersifying yourself. Diverse Dragons collection is a must. It adds way more dragon types with way more different types of abilities and whatnot. It makes dragons a lot more interesting. Do not use this mod if you have any other types of dragon mods. It will break it. Like, it's either this or some other dragon mod. You have to be really careful what you pair this one with. The relationship dialogue overhaul is super important for me because I get bored with companions because they always say the same shit like over and over again, and I get tired of it. Woodsman Shack literally just adds a shack somewhere. Same with the Hunter's House. It's by Workstead. It adds a house that you can claim as your own. Realistic water makes the water flow better. They improved water flow for special edition, but this makes it even better. Nordic cooking is one that I just started trying. It is cool, but I'm not crazy about the fact that the food doesn't actually add, like, doesn't fill up your hunger bar, so that's annoying for survival. If you're not playing survival, though, it's very good, but in survival mode, it's a little bit annoying. More kill moves lets you literally add more kill moves. You can increase the amount of time that you get more kill moves, and it can make it so that you get kill moves even if they're not the last person alive in the area, so if you like the kill moves. Vivid Weather is the one that I use to change the weather. There's several different mods that change weather. Only have one of them equipped, obviously, but this is the one that I prefer. I've tried several of them. Cities of Skyrim retexture makes the cities look generally more pretty, and then Gardens of Whiterun adds a lot of foliage to Whiterun and makes it look even prettier. It does work with Cities of Skyrim. Make sure Cities of Skyrim is first, otherwise it won't work. Blacksmith Forge Water literally makes it so that the water in the blacksmith looks nicer. Sounds funny, but every little bit helps. Real Mountains is, again, that's something that's totally retexturing mountains, makes them look a lot more realistic. Point the Way is literally adding street signs. It adds more street signs so that it's easier for you to find your way. Again, especially in survival mode where you can't fast travel, that seems important to me. Haven't tried the Magical College of Winterhold yet. Like, I haven't been there since I added this one, but it makes the Winterhold College look way nicer and more magical. Let's see here. Book covers of Skyrim. I talked about that one. Retexturing books. Open Cities of Skyrim is the one that makes it so that there's no load screens. And then Immersive Citizens is the one that overhauls the AI. Make sure that you get this patch to go with it. Otherwise, it won't work with the Open Cities of Skyrim. That's the Open Cities of Skyrim patch for Immersive Citizens. There you go. All 79 of my mods. I need to go pick up my girlfriend. She's about to get off for lunch. So I squeezed